4.5 to 10 cities. We established the Nation Builders Corps of 100,000 graduates to build the job skills of our graduates to be absorbed into the workforce. We created jobs and stopped the freeze on recruitment in the public sector. Over 295,000 people were recruited. We abolished fees for postgraduate medical training in Ghana. We increased the share of DSTF to persons with disabilities by 50%. We exempted prior year from market tolls. We ensured the implementation of our pledge of employing 50% of the persons who manage the country's toll booths from among persons with disabilities. We expanded the leap by 150,000 beneficiaries. We expanded school feeding program from 1.6 million children to 3.4, and now increasing it to over 4 million. We were able to restore teacher and nurses training allowance. We abolished the 3-month pay policy for teachers. We absorbed the cost of BEC and WASI term exam registrations. We abolished or reduced 15 taxes, including excise duty on petroleum, VAT on financial services, real estate, domestic airline tickets, etc. We made it easier to apply for a common passport. We made it easier to apply for a license. We made it easier and quicker to apply for and obtain pensions in 10 days. We made it easier to buy electricity from your mobile phone. We made it easier to apply for scholarships. We made it easier to send and receive money through mobile money interoperability. We made it easier to open a traditional bank account using your Ghana card. No guarantor is now required to obtain student loans. The Ghana card is sufficient. We reduced corruption associated with obtaining public services by digitization of service delivery. We saved the NHIS from collapse by reducing arrears to service providers. We provided 600 million COVID fund for small businesses. We made it easier for the renewal of NHIS membership through mobile phones. We made it easier to register a business. We made it easier to clear goods from the ports through the paperless process. We made it easier to apply for a construction permit. We have reduced inflation. We have reduced bank lending rates. We have reduced depreciation of the CD. Allowance of security personnel at UN peacekeeping missions increased from $31 to $35. We have spent $21 billion to save the deposits of 4.7 million depositors. We have implemented free TVET. Mr. Speaker, let us remember what we have achieved with 2 fish and 5 loaves even in these 5 years, and strive boldly, Mr. Speaker, and confidently to build our entrepreneurial nation. It is remarkable, Mr. Speaker, what we have been able to do with our debt in these 5 years. We have implemented, of course, the free senior high school initiative. Mr. Speaker, while we have not eliminated suffering, we have done more in terms of social intervention than any other government since 1992. And certainly more in this regard than the NDC governments. We will therefore continue to work towards mitigating the burdens imposed on the global impact of COVID-19 on Ghanaians, as we also commit to tackle the social ills of expenditure control, corruption, recurring leakages, and low productivity. We shall work with labor and employers to institute a National Labor Conference to promote productivity in all its forms. Mr. Speaker, with his renewed mandate, His Excellency the President is resolute that in the next 3 years, he will establish a stronger and more stable economy, an entrepreneurial nation that empowers young people to be bold, innovative, proactive, and dynamic to contribute to the transformation of our country. Mr. Speaker, in addition to continuing the implementation of our flagship programs, we will scale up interventions under the 100 billion Ghana Asempa program, especially in the agriculture and industrial sectors, and the Youth Start agenda. In 2022, Mr. Speaker, through this budget, we will activate the 10 billion Youth Start program nationwide to promote skills and entrepreneurship among our youth. We will continue to support the private sector to expand and provide employment opportunities for our people. We will build up our financial architecture to be responsible and to be world-class. We will prioritize the completion of ongoing projects in health, education, and the housing sectors to drive social mobility and transformation. We will leverage off the AFCFTA Secretariat to become a regional hub in all sectors of the economy. Among others, we will continue to ramp up our revenue mobilization efforts to enable us to secure quality living standards. We will continue to subject all public expenditure to thorough justification in line with the PFM Act to ensure value for money for every cedi spent. We will aggressively continue with road construction to connect communities, markets, and people. We will continue to advance digitalization to improve convenience for Ghanaians and create a modern, efficient, digitized economy. We will continue to promote science, technology, and innovation to build competencies for a resilient future. We will continue to reposition our economy through our Regional Hubs program to optimize the opportunities in the sub-region and continent. We will continue, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that our climate policies and our gender policies are first class. We will continue to resource our security agencies to defend and protect Ghana and Ghanaians. We will continue to reform the energy sector, promote climate resilience, and drive the adaptation of renewable energy technologies. Mr. Speaker, Scripture teaches us that the process of building a nation is in phases. We learn from the story of the biblical Israel that life in the wilderness is very different from the promised land. In the desert, God freely provided for the necessities of the young nation: food, water, clothing. When the nation transitioned into their promised land, God enabled them to cultivate farms and build enterprises for themselves and their country. We, Mr. Speaker, can draw lessons from this ancient story for our national quest. Building on the foundations laid by the earlier MPP government of President John Kufuor, the current MPP administration, under the bold and visionary leadership of President Akufo-Addo, has revamped our economy, enhanced social mobility, strengthened our democratic credentials, and illuminated the Black Star like no one else since independence. Today, we want to lead our young men and women to their promised land, an entrepreneurial nation of burden sharers. It is time to cross the Jordan, and as FDR said in his inaugural address, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. With the interventions we offer through this budget and with our understanding of burden sharing, we shall unleash a new cadre of entrepreneurs and nation builders. We want to thank this august House, Mr. Speaker, for the continuous support we have been receiving over the years. We will count on you for approval and support to implement the budget for the transformation of our country. We are also appreciative of the numerous stakeholders for providing useful insights and perspectives in shaping this budget. So as we end, Mr. Speaker, let us ask Jehovah to bless us and keep us. Let Jehovah make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Jehovah lift his countenance upon us and give us peace, and bless us as children and our nation Ghana to be great and strong. Mr. Speaker, I present to you the Ajenkwa budget. Right over you, Speaker, I pledge to move.
Asempa FM. Asempa FM.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, I'm going to start mentioning names. Order. Honourable members, in accordance with the standing orders, Order 143, debate on the motion shall stand adjourned to a date not less than 3 days after the presentation. I hereby direct that a part of the budget relating to the ministries and constitutional bodies shall stand committed respectively to the committees responsible for the subject matter, to which the heads of the estimates relate, for consideration and report in accordance with Order 144. Furthermore, any part of the budget relating to revenue, expenditure, shall stand committed to the Finance Committee in accordance with Order 140, sub 5. Yes, leaders of the House, any indication? Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we have heard the Honorable Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, on the 2022 budget statement. Mr. Speaker, Chrono Ayesh, the system is hot. To it, the system may not be able to bear the hardship. Literally, the system is hot, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it's only the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta who ironically eases burdens, to quote his words, that they are not, there is no illusion about the suffering of Ghanaians, yet he is imposing further suffering, imposing a 1.75 Momo electronic banking tax. So it's only Ken Ofori-Atta who eases suffering with imposition of new taxes targeted at 15 billion Ghana cedis within this period. But Mr. Speaker, with this promise of unsustainable debt, increased suffering and hardships beyond CST, Communication Service Tax and VAT, is bringing in e-transaction levies that he will reverse the gains of financial inclusion. But Mr. Speaker, we are not in a haste to debate him. And why you project revenue from 53 billion to 80 billion within 1 year, the market have listened to you. Ghanaians have listened to you. This budget does not end any suffering. You will be credited in the Guinness Book of Records for borrowing more than any other minister under the Fourth Republic. Mr. Speaker, with that, I will not hesitate to second the motion for adjournment. I say I will not hesitate. I will allow the leader of government business, who himself today is not too smiling. The Vice President, the chairhead, is not here today because of acting capacity. We've advised him to go beyond coming to chair a Minister for Finance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Speaker.
Asempa FM.
Mr. Speaker, I think for the avoidance of doubt, it's important to clear this statement that has been made by the minority leader in respect of the acting president's absence from the chamber. The vice president, as we do know, is the head of the economic management team, and at budget, the Speaker, he has always been with us. Today, he's not with us, and the reason is simple. The Speaker, today, he is the acting president, and because he's the acting president, and because it is the president who causes the finance minister to come and present the budget to the House, the president cannot be in the House. Mr. Speaker, that is for the uninitiated. That is for the uninitiated. That is the technical position. Mr. Speaker, if the president comes to this House, once the president comes to this House, as you do know, the maize will have to be subsumed into the sword of the state. Because when he comes to speak to us. And because the president will not be speaking to us. So people should understand this. People should understand this. And for those of them who don't understand this simple thing, I'm sorry for them. It means they are not learned any parliamentary practice. Order.
Honorable member for Soja Mike, I can see you conducting a choir. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Asempa FM.
Baby mama.
Asempa FM.
Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Minority Chief Whip, I'm waiting on you to bring calm to your side, then we continue. Let me inform you. Honorable members of the minority side, let me inform you that the instruction Mr. Speaker gave me was to have anybody who disrupts proceedings removed by the marshal. That was the Speaker's instruction. It was given in the presence of members. I will not hesitate to do that. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader, if you may conclude.
Why did they do that? Speaker, I believe the good people of this country will get to know that when the minority leader addresses this House, the majority side listens to him in silence.
Exactly.
When the majority leader gets up to address the House, they elect not to listen. The good people of this country will learn. Mr. Speaker, in consonance with Order 140, Sub 3, as we said, the debate on the budget will stand adjourned until Tuesday, the 23rd of November. Mr. Speaker, that really is the result of the discussion that leadership held this morning.
Mr. Speaker, this nation must develop COVID-19 or no COVID-19. Yet, recognizably, COVID-19 has effected considerable devastation on the economy, and the economy is distressed. Business have collapsed, jobs have been lost, lives indeed have been lost. And yet, paradoxically, as you do know, a government is put in place not to explain away problems, but to solve the problems. The Speaker, that indeed is the purpose of what exercise the Minister for Finance has done today. This budget, the Speaker, is set to give this country a new beginning, a watershed budget that will mark a new beginning for us as a country, to break away from the past and give Ghanaians a new beginning. Mr. Speaker, the many initiatives contained in the budget are clear for everybody to know. Mr. Speaker, the minister has not shied away from admitting that there are indeed downsides to our development agenda. Mr. Speaker, for those of them who are asking what I'm debating, they should have asked the minority who are the same person. They should have asked the minority who are the same person. When you bring the fight, you will push the fight back to you. If you don't have the courage, don't initiate it.
Yes, and you'll be crying like this. Crying like this.
Mr. Speaker, so there are many initiatives, but as I indicated, the day for the debate hasn't yet dawned. I want to believe that on Tuesday, the 23rd of November, the House would brace itself to a very robust debate. And I believe that the truth would come out. Not propaganda. The truth will come out for Ghanaians to know. The Speaker, this budget is not a propaganda budget. That is why it is not a green book. It is why it is not a green book. The Speaker, so we will debate it when the time arises. The Speaker having said so, because the time is long past 2 o'clock, it's the usual closing time, we don't need a motion for adjournment. Adjourning, Mr. Speaker, lies with you, and I believe that we would adjourn the House so that we can move to order over what we have done. And, Mr. Speaker, we have agreed.
I'll punish you.
By way of announcement, we have agreed that the post-budget workshop.
I'll get hold of it. I'll punish you. I said, I'm going.
Asempa FM.
Welcome me at peril.
As I was saying, the post-budget workshop will hold in Hull, and we are told that the facility may not be available in the morning of Saturday, so the post-budget workshop will begin in earnest in the afternoon of Saturday, and for us at home. And the adjournment for today, Mr. Speaker, because of an earlier commitment, the adjournment for today until tomorrow, the sitting for tomorrow will not begin at 10, but rather begin at 12 o'clock in the noon. 12 o'clock noon time tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, let me also say that the Women Caucus are supposed to hold themselves in readiness for a group photograph soon after we adjourn. A group photograph, the Women Caucus. The same goes for leadership of the House. for some particular reason, the Women Caucus, all of you together, will have a group photograph. Mainly we adjourn, and the same goes for leadership. Having said so, Mr. Speaker, as I said, adjournment rests with you. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, honourable members.
Asempa
Before I
FM.
adjourn the House, let me repeat this announcement that the Women Caucus and the leadership of the House are required to take photographs for the 2022 calendar Parliament. Please note that it is immediately after adjournment. On that note, the House is adjourned to tomorrow at 12 noon. 12 noon.
Anytime I feel lonely, feeling sad, only one station makes me happy. When I wake up in the morning, only this station makes my day. Yeah. Oh, Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. Oh, Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. 94.7.
94.7 Asempa FM Sony Ekosiisen Reno Asan Asubio Yana Munyana se Samode Mafidie no ato 6 minutes after 3 Asempa FM so any enti ye call Parliament House kofa the 2022 budget statement no Ebrem as delivered by the Finance Minister in Parliament today, the Honorable Ken Ofori Atta. And said they can announce that on all our various social media platforms, they're post-budget discussions no ebetwaso. Na yebenya 2 honorable members ewo studio ha. Bakon a just member of Parliament. Ono also a Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. John Ampontua Kuma Esquire. And he will join us in studio na afe yedi enkomo. Sounds so ena Yen Sabeka, the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, a member of the Finance Committee in Ghana's Parliament, member of Parliament for Yape Kosogo, former Deputy Energy Minister John Jenapo would also join us. Now, afe to me, Eddie, post-budget discussions, no, to me, Abraham. What do you think? What's the Finance Minister delivering the 2022 budget statement? In one word, how would you describe the budget? Mo share your Facebook Live. That's what we have for you. In one word, Oba describe a budget, I would say, as saying, I'll be sharing the highlights with you. Now, ya share it to me, Eddie and Komo, and some stakeholders will be speaking to us based on some of the highlights from the 2022 budget. But in one word, how would you describe the budget? Join us on Facebook, Asempa 94.7 FM, your page or Facebook. Please like the page and share the stream. Not only on so, and you be into me and share. Or YouTube are the same thing on YouTube, Asempa 94.7 FM on YouTube. And your home sono ubetimi akwa share. Subscribe to the channel. Yenya ye posti video be a notification. But let's hear your one word describing the 2022 budget statement. Inti Kwabena Domfe says inspiring. Mamenche way from Ohene Kwabena or say they scopolamine injection. Where say e-tax. That's how I describe the budget. Nana yao. Kwabinyanin on also the enono. Seth Ado says hope budget. Welba for Squejua Boaje on Facebook says any that's all budget. Collins Eduampon says hopefully. Kwesi Prempebunso says great budget. Richard Odrue Champon says realistic. Nana Akwesi Apia Sechi. Hey, right. Kwame Ben says useless budget. Okay. Nate Jokshan on says splendid. We say business like. Nana Ekwamwa Boatin says the budget is inspiring. Nana Ansa says exciting. Let me see. Some of the other words are Eba. Jais Brenu says budget of hope. Okay. Entrepreneurship driven. Nana Safo Baumia. Halidu says Ajenkwa budget. Wow. Let me see. Francis Asumedu says perfect. Anyas Makera says cruel budget. Okay. Obisa fantabulous. Where say Obi, our country is sinking. Prince Opoku Sefa says encouraging. Joe Ashmon says excellent. Makisco Mark Ofusu says forward looking. Philip K. Kuma says splendid. Evans Edrichumesi says intelligent. Jeffrey Osei says fantastic budget. Ain't it? Words need be brave. But keep yours coming. In one word, how would you describe the budget you just heard? The budget for the year 2022. Just let's hear you on Facebook. And I've been reading Facebook comments. If I go Facebook, I'll get onto YouTube now and read some of the YouTube comments. And so on YouTube, how would you describe the budget you just heard? The 2022 budget statement. Finance Minister at the Ekokoto Parliament and the American catcher will say, Enche John Koma, John Jenapo will join us. The two of them as we begin our post-budget discussions. But Unim says, I wish a highlight of the budget now. For me, some of the issues that tickle my fancy in the budget, be mienu anasa miensa eno ho nkomo na ye behwe ne yetumi edi enti revenue measures because that's where na nipa bebre na the pre-budget discussions center on the revenue measures. Individual revenue measures now Bayaka say 2-year tax relief for textile manufacturers for industry growth and employment. They will limit VAT flat rate for retailers with annual turnover up to 500,000 Ghana cedis. They will review temporary benchmark discount policy on import to protect local products. Extensively. Guta President Baha, and he gave reasons why they think it was Abai maintaining a 50% discount on benchmark values. Abai go ahead reviewing that temporary benchmark discount, and me the kind catch them say Enra yet me intercepted the number of items. Sa review ye ebeka. And it has come to pass. I don't know what you take for reaction ebeye now that government has actually gone ahead to announce a review of sa benchmark discount. Abanswa say they will reduce withholding tax rate from 3% to 1.5% on export of unprocessed gold by small-scale miners. Again, under revenue measures, they would implement common platform for property rate collection and accountability. In the property rate, abai HMOA, common platform be ebe, but not just assemblies in revenue rate on Bejano would be seen on a common platform. Na etimi abwa property rate collection and accountability. Very, 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 very important revenue measure. E-levy, and also now, and they are trending on social media. E-levy on all electronic transactions to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. In the e-levy details, a levy on all electronic transactions to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. It covers electronic transactions on mobile money payment, bank transfers, merchant payment, and inward remittances. In the means you hear me now pay mobile money payment, a rate of 1.75% shall be borne by the sender inward remittances to be paid by recipient. In the mobile money, wa ebia wo send sika ne bro 100 Ghana cedis no. Aban ebe tax 1.75%. And a wo wo send sika na obetua that particular tax. This is my understanding. There can say transactions that add up to 100 Ghana cedis or less per day, which is approximately 3,000 Ghana cedis per month, are tax exempt. In a while, we transfer sika less than 100 Ghana cedis, no 100 Ghana cedis or less. Oh no, sa tax we won't trebi. But we are all sending 100 Ghana cedis and more. Ebetia sa 1.75% tax, no. And abai chiremua sika umenya free hano. Eko into entrepreneurship, youth employment, cyber security, digital and road infrastructure, and a public transport. It will come into effect in the year almost started this year, 1st February 2022, in the next year, February. And as a tax way on Momo transfers above 100 Ghana cedis, no, it take effect in the next year, 1st February. But say Ushemuya, the effect of this, what does it mean? Because mind you, say, and you know, say, what transfer sika and there. Telcos no air telcos know what the omote dada. And that is where I think we all have to look at the effect of Sa Adie. Say, Ushe, the telcos no edge dada CC ana. Now, we have calculation now. That is where you would get to understand the effect of this proper. Now, prepare. Know how you would prepare. In the medical cassette threshold, no. A year, 100 Ghana cedis and above. And buying air taxes are 1.75%. In the young fan say, NA, so we'll send it 200 Ghana cedis. The average charger, telco no charge 200 Ghana cedis. Omoje say omoje 2 cedis. Wow, we send no obetua 2 cedis. Say 200 Ghana cedis. O say, yeah, you bet 2 cedis. Or send it 200 Ghana cedis. In the with the E11, you know, it will mean say 1.75% will be added to 2 cedis now. Telcos netted that no. Because the telcos need the end will still maintain unless the telcos say omodi no munyante. And you would have to get the telecoms chamber na omama yehu inchire and the deputy finance minister so be cancer. Ye be busa na watch them ye e de amaye. Na ye nyina ya dream aye den I am fine. Na obi etimi atene was because say me send it 200 Ghana cedis above 100 Ghana cedis threshold, said the minister can, you know. It is a metria 2 cedis ne dada. So 1.75 way, no. What does it mean? It's a big question I was seeing in day. Yet to me, anointy deputy finance minister ba obeboayen e was sa kwan so na ya hwese de nioma ABC akọ enti monhya so emayen. Apart from that, no, the other revenue measure Alex Martinson mean few in the end, you know, boys they say Asempa we have your mobile team mo send this mo akra mo send it. No, but the thing is, I won't send anything less than 100 Ghana cedis. I won't know unka more send above 100 Ghana cedis, no, and mobetria. But one other thing is so talking point, road tolls are be free ho. And me kai say, and say some time ago, about 3 or 4 months ago, yene drivers unions for the bakudi ko they spoke vehemently against road tolls, no. Say be anka buying any road tolls in free ho. Now, say other means be or buying be fat because road tolls ne cause traffic and all of that. Government in this budget naka say no road tolls on all public roads and bridges without job losses. They'll remove all public tolling points and are buying free say to help reduce congestion on our roads, reduce travel time, reduce environmental pollution, and increase productivity. And what do you also think? Oh yeah, vehicle owner, oh yeah, commercial driver, oh yeah, private driver, yeah. A buying see road tolls in no mobile be year free ho. Now omu ye free wa, omu ye adwuma in the road tolls no be reassigned. In a dia obetua road tolls bio. What do you think? Good news for you? And our free say we should still maintain them and use the money to fix roads. What Jane extra will say ewo eno. Let's hear your views. The other big talking point are already a man for Ekahonsem on social media. On the You Start. In the You Start, no say beyond. Be your own boss. Be your own boss. In the Abai Chiremua, he is committing 1 billion Ghana cedis. And the hope is to create 1 million jobs. 1 million jobs. In the product, a woman be a soft loans, capital loans, a standardized loan package, learning programs, enterprise endowment funds, and access to market. And that's where we are now. Some of the major highlights in the 2022 budget. Now, a buying macroeconomic target I was set for 2022. Overall real GDP growth 5.8%. Fiscal deficit 7.4%. Still above what a Binankasa bill or they call parliament say they will do a deficit of around 5% every year. And we're 7.4%, still above that. Non-oil real GDP growth about a projected 5.9%. End December inflation 8%. Primary surplus 0.1%. Gross international reserves of not less than 4 months of imports. And are buying a project in 2022. And what are your thoughts of the budget you heard? Marikia Kase, in one word, describe the budget. And let me hear your thoughts on the road tolls are buying say OE Edi Efriho plus the e-levy, 1.75% tax on mobile money transfers above 100 Ghana cedis. What do you think? Yanko din komo, Dr. Richmond, a banking and financial consultant. Doc, Ekosiisen says no Asempa FM akwaba.
Yo mujeso.
Na apomu ye de.
Yehu adum epa.
Ye danyame ase. Na minim se ujemre timitie budget ni bia na se wetimi enya highlights ni bia kan.
Oh, mitie bia.
Nice. Enti from the would say which issue na finance minister touch on a jump at you. Okay, so wait there. This is striking. Dear him.
Baby kakra, madwene me na kakra no ye. You know, we are talking about digitization, cashless society. Cashless society because of even security aspects of money. Then suddenly you're saying that you are levying people who have collect more than 100 cedis over a period and 3,000 a month. You're going to also charge them 1.5.
No, 1.75% on
1.75%.
Yeah, Obi I will send him Momo of 100 Ghana cedis and above.
Yeah, and then I'm telling you, reduce cash withdrawals.
Okay.
Near called digitalization, where people can use electronic system to settle issues. Then suddenly you find yourself because the telecoms are already charging for certain percentages, and then you also add another percentages. basically, UTA, the vice president, digitization lecture, now digitization now kind of way. I have contrasting issues because if we really want to improve electronic payments, any more money idea, we should be seen to be even urging the telecos to reduce their charges so that we don't just go and add more to it. Because if you add more, you make it, there's no incentive for people to do that. That is one area I listened to Dr. Babumia's digitization policy and I move into this area. And I find it that there is inconsistent in policy. I thought that we should create enabling environment, meaning that lowering the cost so that other people, more people will be using it to do business. Unfortunately, if you levy 1.5, 1.75, in addition to what the telecos are charging, then if you're talking about close to maybe 3% on electronic payment could be very, very expensive.
Yeah. It is also a telcos no charge 1% that it is 1.75%, they be 2.75%. It is almost 3%, as you said.
Recently, I did some transaction for somebody, 3,000. You know how much I paid on it? I paid close to, for every 1,000, you pay 10 cedis. And this is all the ODA no can't 30 cedis in a one till. Now the ODA 1.5 no can't one. You're adding cost to cost. And I thought that, especially now that we're talking about digitizing the system, to make financial inclusion, we should rather be looking a way of reducing the cost. But if I don't know the tax element here, because the volumes are big, if I levy this, I'll be able to get that. But that do not actually encourage the policy, the
digitization policy of the government. Doc, me pesa oma me sima be mienu the minority ranking member on the finance committee addressing media and this here. Ma me mfa ne mra sisi ana fe yento aso why me da say nti Dr. Etuahene, a banking and financial consultant, he will stay with us on the line. Yenko Dr. Ato Forsen is addressing the media on the 2022 budget statement. Yeba yeto aso, stay with us.
At this point, I will announce some of the tax measures that we have seen in the budget. As it was not enough, the following taxes has been imposed on Ghanaians in the year 2022. First, we are hearing that they are going to introduce the electronic transaction levy, affecting mobile money taxes, mobile money transactions, and bank transfers, and an inflows in remittance. So simple put, what this government seeks to do is that from January 2021, January 2022, every single remittance from anybody living abroad to your mother, to your father, and for the purposes of your investment is going to attract taxes from this administration. We think this is not acceptable, and we will advise ourselves when the time comes. Again, we are seeing that they are going to introduce a special tax on mobile money. We have served notice through our minority leader that the minority caucus of Ghana's parliament will stand by Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian, in opposing this Momo tax. Let me also say that we have seen a 15% increase in all government fees and charges, and we think that that is a bit too much, and the government may need to think about it. These new tax measures will bring great suffering to Ghanaians who have already been choked with taxes. The electronic transaction levy will not only increase the hardships, but will significantly compromise inward remittance, which is relied upon heavily by many Ghanaian households. We wish to assure the people of Ghana that we will vigorously oppose the killer taxes and will ensure that any one of them that will adversely affect the lifestyle of Ghanaians will be rejected. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, Ghana city and the rising unemployment. First, depreciating Ghana cities. After what has proven to be the empty assurance by our vice president that the city has been arrested and the keys has been given to the IGP. that today, 8 cities, 46 pesos. And then we've seen the euro depreciating to 7 cities, 28 pesos. On the issue of unemployment, which is a major issue confronting millions of Ghanaians, especially the youth in this country. It is sad to note that this government has not presented to us any major measure in the budget that would deal with the youth unemployment situation. All what we have seen in the budget statement indeed is empty sloganeering, to the extent that they are not telling us exactly what they are trying to do. So we, the members of the minority, wish to state that going forward, we are going to ensure that this budget in hope to the Ghanaian youth in terms of job creation. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that we have seen huge arrest accumulation. Unfortunately, what is in the budget alone talks about pay only 1.9 billion Ghana cedis in tax in arrests. We are aware that government owes arrests of about 30 billion Ghana cedis. 30 billion Ghana cedis. Yet they had only apportioned 1. We have also seen that there is a huge wastage in public resources. The office of the president alone, the office of government machinery, we have seen an amount allocated to the office of the president representing 3 billion Ghana cedis as expenditure to be spent at the office of the president. Let us serve this new warning that we in the minority insist that going forward we will demand breakdown of this expenditure. We are also serving notice that until the minister responsible for national security appears before us to answer the question relating to the president's travel with private jet, the office of the president budget will not be approved by us. And then to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, let me do this summation. We in the minority had hoped that the terrible state of the economy will compel this government to propose policies in the budget that addresses the most pressing concerns of unsustainable debt, hardships, high cost of living, fiscal indiscipline, unemployment, arrest clearance, and misuse of public resources. To our surprise, and the people of Ghana's surprise, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government has failed to show that they have no solution. They have solution to these problems in this budget. This budget is not responsive to the most important issues affecting the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana have been left entirely to their fate and have to brace themselves for even more severe hardships this Christmas, going into this Christmas and the new year. Unemployment is expected to rise. Our debt to GDP is also expected to rise. The debt levels are also expected to rise. And we expect that the investor confidence will continue to be eroded. In these circumstances, it is obvious that the review budget will be required to correct the serious imbalances and distortions that this budget will create. Again, by every indication, this budget will worsen the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian and drive them into hardships, suffering, pains, and poverty. We call on our Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, to walk his love in opposition and clean up the mess he has created in the Ghanaian economy to ensure that an immediate end is brought to the hardships and suffering of our people. We must admit that these policies has failed and his policies has failed and the Ghanaian economy is in deep crisis. We will ensure that we do what is required of us by ensuring that every single policy in this budget is actually investigated for us to be able to see its impact on the ordinary Ghanaian before we will consider approving the budget or not. Thank you very much.
Asempa FM. Asempa FM.
And that was Dr. Atoforsen, KCL, or no, ranking member on the Finance Committee in Ghana's Parliament, and I'm going to say, or the minority no initial response to the 2022 budget. The Tuja Enti were enumerating the number of taxes, new taxes are in this new budget. We share a buying expenditure lines. We share sika buying HR at the Eco Office of the President, and or kasa nyade a minority no ebe approve say a buying and share and for breakdown of a manpenyin travels near the ama. They will not approve that particular expenditure item. Wasanso can send me brain say budget way fails to respond to the critical issues at Ghana for Akoma, so including unemployment. Mamene Dr. Triahine and Twaso. Doc,
Bajo me ho binia.
Ha, inti na mi busa se minim se wutimi tie minority for na.
Me tie kaka na eba na maye.
Na e maye. Okay, essentially the normal kind the number of taxes are new budget he introduced, and they say that is a departure from a very social contract on your man for a war. Do you agree?
Emra abani social contract now there was no COVID. And there was no global crisis like what we experience now. Today, America has inflation of 6.2. British has recorded 4.2% inflation, which used to be 1%. Global supply chain issues has come to affect the general economy, especially with the COVID. In Titama they never anticipated the shortages, the difficulties in managing the economy. But as you go forward, if you listen to the other countries, budgets now or more prepare or more they are trying to introduce to mop up revenue to support the physical deficit that has been created. And you cannot continue that with the same methodology now, taxes now. You need to find a means way of broadening the tax base to enable us to increase the revenue, to be able to reduce the debt GDP ratio and the interest payment. The interest payment, what I think the minority should have thought about is that were there a policy on debt sustainability on the debt, and how were we going to reduce the debt? It's not only generating revenue alone, but giving policies, cap policies, and they're putting in place to ensure that our debt is sustainable, so that the GDP debt ratio of 76% could be driven up to maybe 66%. Meaning, this is only a key thing in the budget we people should be looking for. Although the taxes have been increased, but you see, last time we set a target of, I think I've forgotten the figure, but I'm not sure we've achieved even 80% of it. So even what they have projected, they won't achieve it. And if you don't achieve it, don't forget your debt servicing ratio, it remains what it is, and it will possibly even go up. And to me, come out clearly, say, what is the strategy in putting the debt, bringing the debt GDP debt ratio to a reasonable level? Unfortunately, I didn't say it, and when I listened to Dr. Casey, something that I also never heard him. You see, the taxes has come about because of the COVID and the global chain supply that we are encountering globally. It's all over the world. It's all over the world. And the honor, as I say, you need a policy to tell us this and that. The honor and I'm who's a man who ye, but it's all can be, but I'm in Tilly.
But I think essentially the Obomo can say Ghana for should brace themselves up because earlier no the e-levy affecting Momo transactions, remittances, any bank transfers. They think say a cover Ghana for do na India was say ye brace ye say government on the other hand also feels say it is a means to draw in the informal sector because OSHA data on the state of tax payment in Ghana now, it's quite interesting because out of a population of 30.8 million, population registered for tax, 2.364 million 348. And it clearly no nipa etria and I can say corporate taxpayers 45,109 entities that are registered as corporate taxpayers. Self-employed taxpayers 54,364. Active contributors to Tier 1 SNIT pension a little over 1.6 million. Active contributors to Tier 2 SNIT pension a little over 2.1 million. Registered businesses at Registrar General's Department 136,198 entities, of which 80% are self-employed as at August 2021. And clearly, a large, in fact, overwhelming majority of our people are excluded from the tax bracket. E11 is a means to rope them in. Do you agree with that justification?
Media, Adibakwa Mekano, your tax ratio, the lowest in the sub-region, 12% to 13%. Even Ivory Coast is 16%. And so, what we should be doing, seriously, what we should be doing to expand those who are not paying it. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it has become an albatross or something. But on your say, they put it in place. Media digitization, especially with new housing addressing system, because of Kasa property rate or Kanka credit. But you see, in other jurisdiction, the Kai World Bank representative for Okoma, we had a discussion some time ago. He had a scan. I wrote an article. He told me that if we were to even look at the property rate system, rating system very well, we'll be hitting about 25% of the tax GDP rate. Unfortunately, no one can. The whole council, better sharing with local council. Look, we need to have a clear policy because there are areas where property rates are not good. I will be key, baby. Asphalt, you're trying to feel but he's paying as little as 1,000 cedis a year. It doesn't make sense. In case you perceive a body in a taxi, say individual business, property rate system there. Quotes the World Bank rep 2 years ago. He said exactly what I said. Because if we use the digitization housing numbers here on my bay, near greedy houses near Lodi, we will be making, because that is bigger. There are bigger tax revenue from that area. But all can make it so can be sharing. The emphasis was not broadening that area, deepening that area to be able to attract more property taxes for the state. Individuals, to be honest with you, it is the lowest in the sub-region. As some of our figures now, and your figure can't answer. Because if only 1.2 something million are paying population out of, we in Kuala free more, we in Kuala 10 million free more. Then you pensioners free more. And then you probably say 8 million, 9 million taxes. A whole say, you may need breath, you expand base, Oh, but unfortunately, you did a better one. Would your mammy come back with some material? Tax exemption, me free 2016. And I'm a tax exemption for Deben, tax exemption. Tax exemption, over the period. Why can't the law be passed quickly to have it implemented so that we can clear the loophole? What might it can be? But Nick can also tell you, honestly say, but see, I'm not taxes now, Kosra, or the OTA, your debt servicing ratio, and no woman can put in 10 years because it's taking a chunk of the revenue. And then you come to salaries and wages. Said what you saw, can say, will be parliament, office of the president. Oh, by this time, I think you're tightening your belt. And the English belts are moving team out of a said that the idea, young Fabet, your 9 news swim chair or pebble. Unfortunately, young per se, you did belt in the boy, your per se, your hotel, your public sector, you can be 10%, 5%. But you see, it's kind of anyhow, it's the answer, Master Susenka. Free goodies now, the mind, coming and use you know, so free no. As I said, you can quite say. Can you mean to slow down so 2019, 2020, 2020 and yet free? We must find a way of getting it back. Because another na ama your physical consolidation no aya bi mu wine. No so yem pese ye nim eka edwuma aban dwuma na aka no ye fa bi aka ho na ye fa bi nka ho na the ceiling atoso. Na the ceiling atoso because said ye we share the katra mo share na opposition kai. Almost a month prove office of the president. You share maybe I'm going last year this year. Difference is almost so. If you want to say Nasa, it's the same boy a young belt. See the belt tightening your belt. You're getting it, but unfortunately, who tightening Hannah having losing, who tightening Hannah losing. See, a Cobanis are adding material. I listen to the whole budget thing and I follow it.
And me busa me listeners say, I'm describe a budget or mote in one word. What word now to describe a budget way? Doc, Otemenka. Yeah, me say me catch me tie for say describe a budget or mote in one word. Me kasa describe a budget way in one word. A word be.
Test media, I know you. I know it. Describe it one word. Well, it's need to be a target which is achievable. Need to be used our word. What's it mean? Kabako. Adding. Me choose. This is when you tree money. Let me borrow tree. Because you see what we are facing at the moment, prices, oil prices. This is going up. Oil prices is a code 90. And I'm sure they do the winter number 120. And the city cannot continue holding itself. So the city will go down, the prices will go down. And see, as I see a shared global perspective, and you say so. A young one has a material and I say Asempa to many now 2 years what, 2 years in so one so and as a nation. And the also put systems or put controls. Say over to me because I feel I can, but the better home measure revenue expenses now. It doesn't meet much together. And you make one say when you're tracking your bed for a bed to bow you
About boy you won't. Mate.
Your bed.
Doc Mate, enti mame nase bibia ne ebeba bidin komo be. And Dr. Richmond the Tuahene banking and financial consultant and Amoten Nkano also expressing his thought on the 2022 budget statement and the finance minister at the core parliament. Here can say the deputy minister in charge of finance Abba the cancer ewo studio but I've got special birthday dedication. I was say to me a year. Very, 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 very necessary that I do this birthday dedication. It's from it's to a special friend of mine. And he say, please help me wish my baby a happy birthday. Please tell him that I appreciate the love and dedication from him to me. Every bit of sacrifice he has made to make me the woman I am today. I count myself blessed among women to have such a great husband. I say God richly bless him. And on behalf of the girls, they couldn't have asked for any other dad. Kwame Osei Sapon is the best dad in the world. Therefore, we pray for long life, good health, and wealth. We love him dearly. And this is from Mrs. Jacqueline Osei Sapon. Currently in Norway, studying an MSc in Globalization and Sustainable Development at Norwegian University of Science and Technology. And Mrs. Jacqueline Osei Sapon and Omanikunu Kwame Osei Sapon awodapa. No, Mrs. Osei Sapon, we too much. What? romantic message to your dear husband. And to Kwame Osei Sapon, have a great one. This is from your wife, Jacqueline Osei Sapon, currently at the university, the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Norway. And she says she would want to wish you very, very well. And Kwame Osei Sapon is CEO of IMAC Roofing Systems. IMAC Roofing Systems CEO. Kwame Osei Sapon. Happy birthday. Do have a great one and live to be 94.7 and beyond. Let me welcome the Honorable Deputy Finance Minister. And I mean, Konkoye interview Imra Nafi Yentwaso. Honorable, Akwaba Bokode.
Major so, Metia Asempa FM
Asempa phone so jo so papa. Parliament Boko.
Parliament Boko. Ajenkwa budget no so akotuja.
Oh, we Ajenkwa budget.
Ajenkwa budget.
Mamini Nkomo Imra me ba Ebetwaso. Derek B. Lai. Derek here, digital financial service expert and a director of the Africa Digital Economic Forum. Yenino inni Nkomo kakanye na drink some portions of the budget. Derek, good afternoon. Let's say.
Senior. Good afternoon. Apome. Na between but me ni kaka.
But edikan a year, and because you play in the digital space, no, edikan a year this e-levy. So me kind what that policy no entail, at least from what I heard in the budget, government said a levy on all electronic transactions to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. It will cover electronic transactions on mobile money payment, bank transfers, merchant payment, and inward remittances at a rate of 1.75%. To be borne by the sender, and also transactions that add up to 100 Ghana cedis or less per day, which is approximately 3,000 Ghana cedis per month, are tax exempt. It means 1.75% when it will be on transactions above 100 Ghana cedis. From our experience in the industry, you know, we saying effect of Sadie Ebeyede.
So, yeah, it's good say your Deputy Finance Minister Kao in change, and it's important say he can also bring some finality to a bit of the confusion that is going on currently within the space. There's a lot of discussion on this topic right now. Now, first of all, I think say the understanding of 1.75 no, there's a bit of a gray area, and the concern is it a consumer tax or is it a profit tax? Maybe a service provider in ABPA, and now the 1.75, you know, service provider charge, you know, of 1%. Now yet 2.75%. In Keno say me send you 200 cedis war studio house here now. Anka you know you bet charge me 2 cedis and then 1%.
1%, yes.
Does that mean say 2.75? After you bet charge me 5.5 cedi and these are the kind of clarifications that we want. Now, it's either that or now 2 CDs now. Says and then provide an EBIT 1.75 if we need 2 CDs. Name our government, and that's about 35% of the 2 CDs. These are the kind of conversations that we're seeking to get clarity on. But as it stands right now, no, from the reading of the wording, no, it appears to be 1.75. No, it will be borne by the sender. Then that's a concern because you see.
Derek,
yes.
In the if it will be borne by the sender, because the wording of the statement from the finance minister is clear. Say a rate of 1.75% shall be borne by the sender. Meaning,
so obviously it's a consumer tax.
In the meaning says it's here no 1% now telcos ne charge, and it is you sue 200 Ghana cedis example now. Say me transfer 200 cedis 1% charge no will be 2 cedis, right?
Yes.
2 Ghana cedis, good. It is 1.75 when so a bar. Meaning say
apart
from 2 cedis, no. Plus additional 1.75, the back of 5.5 cedis.
Yes, 5.5 cedis for your charge to send 200 cedis. That would be a very huge problem because you see some of the conversations now happening, the government doesn't get anything from mobile money, but that's not true. A couple of months ago, I left the telecoms chamber. Now, a total tax contribution research stress even last year, government had 215 million cedis every mobile money without a tax on the service, and it is basically getting that tax wave-free withholding taxes and similar commissions. Ayetiama agents now they get a percentage of the withholding in there. Now, other countries, be say Tanzania and Congo, they have even given a flat rate from almost 7.5, 8%. They're giving 3% standard for only mobile money transactions, so that they can support the growth of the service. Now, if we are saying, I'll give you an example. Last 2 years, government launched 3 policy documents. Now, policy documents, National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy. But also a digital financial services policy, and about the cash light roadmap. Now, policies there's no conversation in there per se. Tax into mobile money. So now, if you go to Uganda, the empirical evidence is there. Oko Uganda, Oko Congo, you see typical similar examples of such taxes, and the way it has hurt the economy in effect. I'll give you an example. In the case of Uganda, almost 1% in both. 0.5%. Now, I've always said, when you tax mobile money, what you are doing is that you are taxing the medium through which money moves. So the money in motion is equally being taxed. So what will happen? People will switch back to cash, and people will say, people will reduce using the service. But what is mobile money doing? Today, effective monetary policy transmission. A lot of it is being done by virtue of mobile money. Mobile money is giving government a certain sense of overview. Be a otumidi who baby as component or informal economy. Na kanyano sasi kanan keshe ya poto mantu ase anayem passe. But today, it's moving more and more into the formal ecosystem. Informal money is moving into the formal ecosystem. Now, it also provided that dashboard view for government to be able to take certain strategic decisions. So it's a bit of a concern if we are going to charge 2.75 consumer. So today, the from the board member or the CEO to the butler and then the garden boy, they are all saying, send me mobile money. There's a belief in the service. The service is growing. Yes, I agree. About 17 to 18 million users. But there's a huge room that equally needs to be reached. So Ghana is doing well. Last year, according to Bloomberg, they say Ghana is the second highest growing mobile money market in the world. All these stats are there, and it was actually just because of the COVID. So we are seeing all this traction. What we need right now, from my experience, and the fact that I've been in this space for about 8 years, through policy, work with government on a lot of these issues, you expect, even your policy decisions now, your policy strategy documents now, towards more and more uptake. If you're talking merchant payments, you can government to people's payments, you can contactless payments. We are growing the space, not rather taxing the space, because mobile money today, single-handedly, provides close to 500,000 jobs. Now, 500,000 jobs, which sector or which service in this economy provides 500,000 jobs? So when you tax it directly like that, you should understand the rippling effect and not the implication of the move now, because it's definitely going to hurt the whole value chain. More importantly, financial inclusion. That's the major headline bracket. Mobile money. Every country that talks about mobile money says that mobile money is basically the driver of financial inclusion. Then even social inclusion. It is a one who say other sectors are all relying on mobile money today to be able to work. Government is using mobile money to pay leap. We're having similar conversations to draw mobile money technology into premix food or subsidy, the digitization program. They are all hinged on mobile money. So now the question is, what will be taxed and what will not be taxed? Secondly, companies now giving mobile money service for free from their point of view. For free because the hope they said they can grow uptake, and it's for free because the whole idea is to grow uptake. If it's all good and rosier, they should be charging as well. So the question now is for the free services. No more free services. Who is going to pay for the 1.75? Is it the consumer? Then more importantly, cap fees now after 1,000, edane 10 cities now, encore 11 cities, bioma now 12 cities. What's an 8,000 10? What's an 8,500 10? What's an 2,000 10? What's going to happen? What's the tax? What's the implication of the tax on those existing business models? Because the impact of this announcement is not just about the consumer, but it's about the whole business model and its sustainability into the future.
But
so that's the kind of
Derek, the other thing they say, as we speak, sir, 1% on transactions, and the 1% any specific threshold we are on any transaction you do, no better as 1%, no, and that money goes to the telcos, right?
Yes, so that 1% basically factors for the service cost. Exactly, you're right. Yes.
In the telcos, nothing goes to the government from 1%, no.
But I just explained to you right now that the way the mobile money system works in itself, what's happening here is that today, without necessarily even putting a tax on it, government got 215 million cedis last year. So I'm just saying that they are different varied tax models to use to apply
215 million.
If you want money from the service rather than go direct. Derek, that's the way I'm talking. That's the point I'm coming from.
Yeah, Derek, 215 million, no, from what? From the telcos on their Momo transactions.
The telcos are largely acting as withholding agents for government. In the telco, no, OTR withholding taxes are OTR commissioner the agents now or withholding taxes. On one corporation taxes, if you look at MTN's financial for last year, it's online. The business made 1 billion CDs for mobile money. 25% of that money goes to government. That's where the money is coming from. So the question is, if you are taxing it directly right now, it means you are hurting my grandmother. Maybe me no able to meet you, Bema. But the conversation now goes a step further to what about the rural people, the people in the rural areas, that financial inclusion, the extended service that we want to the financial service that we want to extend to these communities as we are growing a digitized environment. I can make passport. Now passport say me Jeep Express now you say be 150. Let me tax at so na. Because it's going to affect every single service that we are benefiting today from the digitization that is really sustaining the economy now, reshape the economy. No? That's what I'm saying. There's been a lot of comments. I have a story on my Joy Online, which basically says the principle of taxing mobile money transaction and its unintended consequences. This thing has been, some of us have foresaw it because of the commentary you usually hear. You hear things like mobile money has made value of mobile money transactions last year was 500 million. Now, 500 million, it is not for a telco. The value is the value that is based on the financial count of the transactions on the network. So I'll give you an example. So let's say 1,000. That was studio horses here. Now with the 1,000, also cinema honorable deputy minister.
Derek, I hear the value near 500 billion and not million.
Sorry, I'm just saying that even if it's 500 billion or 200 trillion, it is not money that sits with anyone. It's the same money that has moved around the service. And it's not money that, it's not like, the money is, the real value of money on the mobile money service today is about 8 billion. That's the real money, 8 billion cedis. So the 500 billion you hear is not 500 billion sitting with any bank. Or it's not 500 billion sitting with any telco. So I keep saying that we've had this communication say last year or the last 3 months, mobile money made 200 billion. When you start hearing such things, it means that you know what is going to come. But the question is, you are going to tax a mirage because it does not exist. If you are talking about money that sits today, because mobile money, every single 1 CD you see on mobile money has a corresponding physical 1 CD cash in the bank. And we are saying, by virtue of figures from even central bank, that the total value of the balance of float on mobile money services in Ghana today is about 8 billion. That's the money we're talking about here. So I don't even think that we should use the value of mobile money transactions last year was 500 billion because it means that it does not, those things don't mean anything. And I was going to explain to say, and with the 1,000 cities, Senate was studio horses here, 1,000. So what pass 1,000 cities? Also send 1,000 cities, my deputy minister, honorable deputy minister, to say, yeah, they're kind of 2,000. But what is it? It's the same 1,000 that is moving.
Yeah, I get you. But I want to Derek. Now me say deputy minister wahano. I want him to include a Jenasoma Mewahu.
I would love to hear from him too as well. Thank you.
And the Jenasunian Deputy Minister on this specifically, then we move into other areas. The Honorable, what's here, Derek? Derek here, a former. Derek, now we are in charge of communications or telecoms.
Now we had research and communications.
Fantastic.
That was 2 months ago.
Great. In the research and communications, that was telecoms chamber. And the director of the Africa Digital Economic Forum and the expertise near digital financial services. What in common, Eddie? Those are some of the concerns from players in the industry. Say. The policy lacks some level of clarity. It is here, Anomaka said the sender would have to pay based on a day. Say, ni 2 cedis na, ebia telco no airtel from 200 Ghana this transfer no. So 2 cedis him na buying airtel 1.75, and I say Otria sa 2 cedis ni we are. No, I say 3 additional 1.75. Say in the city.
Yo, Obi medasi mechia TF nyina so. Obi tuotua no obiara ni ho no mo a nanije tuotua ho nanso obiara hia se aban be bibia ma no yeah the whole world all over the world abuya ni ho no mo de anije eje tuotua nhihye until let's have this discussion in that perspective na no kre wo mso ni se mobile money transactions se sha se organa ache na there's a reason ti aban nya ho abotra develop to a level and now yetimi kra achieve interoperability utimi move ska free mobile money account so at the call bank account and vice versa. There's a reason tia yetima twen till now and sana yedisa nhihye we ba and sana yede eto we eba ye budget mu no obi I can tell you say in the past 1 year government are here intensive research commission special consultants to do intensive research to inform government say how is the best way to implement a strategy way. And I can assure you say what we have put out now is very, very acceptable in the
space
in the space. And all this one too was also led by the communications ministry and other stakeholders. Obi no kra omuni say the word can dia to jano over 500 billion transactions happen on mobile, and this is not just mobile money in Kwasem na you can all e-transactions. And mobile money is one out of other digital transactions that happen, and then because of COVID near the businesses be ni phone so crampa. Now I order or call Instagram or done to man atade na watua by Momo senko call
transactions
ni
500 billion
yes can new tax transaction tax ye introduce so first now be a call shop bi ana say call mall no akoto atade no na watua ka age receipt na wo ji ho no in VAT tax and say other tax and cabinet shop on because you ordered online no untia tax ni nyina
in the e-levy way no and just momo transfers
nko
1.75
no ebe cover other transactions ni nyina said the be economic activities now are shifting from the traditional way of doing business into the virtual space no a buying so can tap into it and make sure say we get revenue to run the country. What the woman say aban anya revenues na all the expectations emebunu ni adwuma yakwan nyina nye yehia nsuo yehia hospital all these things na aban be nyeska wo he enti it is not with joy and I introduce any tax onto people but no kro woman say sa budget we aban tax makoma enum and every ho we am no be call into details and you introduce back pe na Ghana had the same consultants offer me obi as you aban expanded tax base no emfa informal sectors no meka ho the only levy Ghana how share objectively obetimi did the informal thing because a lot of research before we came to this conclusion and gebetimi dey to petrol so na no so mo to petrol bia betiem say ahokire wo so ade na ade ayi to petrol so ye petrol na free ho mobile money there what you crash here what me send this car Oya aban adwuma otimi send this car. Onya aban adwuma otimi send this car. Be cra carpenter ni cra beka se send no mo mame. Because ya to ye vo se the make an aban atonobo aboa ma momo transactions no etimi edru a leveler at this point no say introduce some minimal tax of 1.75 na yesusu say ebeboa ma system no a grow still na aban so revenues aye hia de aye adwuma no so yensaka.
But from figures it doesn't look like it's minimal, especially say a send that in a atria.
Yes, ye bedru ho na obi so on say telcos no charge no what to complain bi Ghana ha. People are happy paying fees to take 1%. Yeah, 1%. Telcos no who send there 1% or sanji there or receive no so 1%. Telcos no so no mo and now only the sender bisa no. Both ends.
Derek, in the telcos ne charge no both ends na.
Both ends. I will explain. Honorable, the charge ni say who send there 1%. Now I've said this from day one. The mobile money was not created to be a money transfer service. Into the 1%, the other 1% is if you are going to withdraw the money. But if you are not withdrawing the money, and I'm saying no one.
Okay, so he's come back to what I'm saying. You pay 1%. Okay. So 1%. You couple my saying 2%.
That should be true.
Now, I bind the AIA, it's not like that. It's only the sender. And obey to 1%. Wow, withdraw no. You are not paying 1.75 no. On obey to wow, withdraw no. You are not paying. But yes, I research who say, answer.
Clarity.
Okay.
1.75 na send an ETR no.
Yes.
In addition to 1% telco no.
No, it's independent of any telco no charges. But you see, telcos no so bind the policy abano. I feel almost over the impact of the government policy on their business. Into Ebia, before now, no 1% without government tax, they could do that. I bind the new policy abano, ye fre BB incidents of taxation. I bind introduce a tour. I feel now what telco no overhead the demand elasticity and inelasticity for your product. Now I decide they say because why you 2% in na say also so baby be for home pacha what I say. But for now let's look at a bind there. And sana ye be agree on say 1.75%. No, yes, I research who say about 30% of Momo transactions in Ghana. Omo muni bia omo ho kire omo send below 100 Ghana cedis a day.
Okay.
Oka bosumi ni nyina aboma 3,000 Ghana cedis. Now every day bia we transaction below 100 Ghana onka sa to GA we ho
1.75.
yes ye omu nyina afrim.
That's every day. So transaction here
100
Ghana
cedis or below
okay.
Onka ho aban encha ontua sa aban to we.
Okay.
Pachoti ase. Enti no even in this policy no you try cover about 30% of Momo users. Now omo betimi atua 1.75 no. Omo betimi atua 1.75 no. Ye hunu say so betimi transacting more than 100 cedis a day. You should be able to pay 1.75 charge to government. But this is a mechano. Say telcos ne charge 1%, 2% ne there. One to the DBAO. Say we share transactions of 500 billion. Bisa so say abanya 200 million.
215 million.
Tax bisa say send a call telcos no. Onfe no so ntu dwane ntie. So, enti se sikajeje na eko ankran ho. Ibia nso I say aban na eme ya aban ko fiska we he. Enti we also have to be willing and ready to say yes aban me ya akwan maya. Ho say ebo aban no no so timi nya sika o de ba ya akwan. Yes aban tua ya school fees. Aban ko fiska no we he. Eye kakra ya ye gigie nyina se de meka no. Eto ye hwede e be ha adwan na ye free so. Me no ka say ye yito no makumako enum in this budget. Already in 2017 ye yi makumako 17 taxes. I friend nuisance taxes ye yini nyina free so. This budget is so ye say yi enum e de free so including roto. Me no ka say ya amfa roto na nkɔhye ba bia ye free so. Yes. What do you mean by where from this? Ada one tier budget na na.
Why? Oh yeah.
Ada one tier budget ni bia na. Ka chen say me see roto no ye twam ye free so. Yes.
Okay.
What I say because the tier was ye roto and say so be take aso a na de bia Africa so eba malama onu betwa road to but so biti East Legon Ajiriga no ba bia asphalt roads among cantonments no omo no ontua road to because road to boot nsi baby ote na meboa enti ehiafo no hwe locations ashaman atiwa villages Cape Coast baby yesi to boot bia na ehiafo no na etua mo so what I say the inconvenience of traffic bread the traffic musa just to go and pay toll booth abansi we yini nyina free ho because you calculate ni nyina no abansi ka we nya free toll booth ni nyina in a year is about 70 million Ghana cedis enti say yehwe na say benya alternative here ebema obi timatua bi na edi convenience ne ekonmujuo bebre amanfo a because you see a production not taxation.
Not taxation. Is it the alternative no any the E11
any E11
will be a bit Derek
okay
the 5 taxes I also year free honor
yes yes near the one pen about yes
Derek
Asempa FM
Inti what's the deputy minister of
the deputy minister I've heard a couple of things that he has said. I'll just respond briefly and then I'll run up and allow him to have his time.
Yes.
Now listening to him, a couple of things I just wanted to clarify. And it's one, the telco doesn't charge 2% for mobile money by 1%. I think that's where the conversation is. Two, when he talks about 30% that has been covered by this tax policy, I just wanted to say there today, or across all networks, already put any would they send 50 Ghana, it won't be taxed, or there's no service charge to it, because on the back of the mobile money, the COVID, these measures were given by operators to support, almost the support consumers across, but they also had something across the continent. So after the COVID, in the back of it, the second wave near there, it's still there and it exists. I don't think that it's something that they intend to even bring it back. So if the policy, the 1.75% policy from government right now is supposed to go and add up to the one to make it 2.7, but it's factoring those under 100. Well, for starters, those under 100 don't even pay anything, so it will be good. The issue, I had a question I wanted you to ask, Honorable, for me, which was, now almost any above 10, above 1,000, no, which are 10, no, almost tax, no, ebe cross it 10, na ebe cross it 10 CD na like me say 8,000 na me tia 2.75 of 1,000 na me say 8,005 na zero. What happens to that? That there's no clarity again in that space. That's like I said, the business models are threatened because of the announcement, and we need it. And he's rightly said, so there'll be a lot of discussion to basically iron out what will work for the sector in the long term. Because at the end of the day, I said, you don't want to bring in a tax that you are looking for money, and then you end up breaking down the business, and then you lose 500,000 jobs. I don't think that's the intention of government. That's not what government seeks to do. So there's a lot of engagement that would need to happen even on the back of this. More importantly, when he talked about, he talked about the demand elasticity, and not say, 1% in the Obiang Kasa. Now, 1.75 now. According to say, it's for me. Thankfully, like I said, I'm speaking largely from the consumer perspective, and my understanding of the space. And I'm strongly asking these questions because if I'm taxing one, and you want to come and tax 1.75, and I'm supposed to add those taxes, how do I consider incidents when yours is bigger than even mine? That's the first question. But then there are other issues that need to be looked at, and for me, it's very important because. You see, I understand largely when he says a lot of movement has gone into the e-commerce space. But there are ways to be able to widen the tax net. And he's right. We are all asking for widening the tax net. Let's be able to capture those in the informal economy. I just think that a frontal tax like this, what it basically does, by virtue of evidence, every Congo, every Uganda, every places like Cote d'Ivoire, there are evidence to prove, what will happen is that people will basically begin to transact the old traditional way and move back to cash. At this time, Central Bank has a whole department, which they call FinTech and Innovation Office. I have supported growth of all these digital platforms now. We're trying to grow in that space. I think the real plan, if we're trying to get some revenue in there, as I said, you need direct tax in Puka and to also say yet maybe 215. I believe with consultation, and he said that there's been some research. I left the chamber two months ago. I have not had any. I was not privy to any conversation from the service provider side. But I would have known if there was a conversation like that going on. But more important, we think, say, there should be a need for further engagement to be able to ensure that these models are worked out and everybody can look at it and we can appreciate the impact that they would have on the consumer. Because long term, if the tax goes to break the policy, the tax ends up being redundant. And I'll leave with a quote. And this quote, they say, if you will, Winston Churchill, now Winston say, let me read it for you. Or say, in 1904, or say, I contend that a country that tries to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket trying to lift himself up by the handle. With the deputy minister, I'll introduce myself in his office.
That's very important. The other bit, another person, major thoughts on because deputy minister can say the conversation is not just, and I said this policy, and yet targeted at just mobile money transfers. Now, other e-transactions, including, and they all over the place on social media, on Instagram especially. Obia creative business, people order, it's delivered to them, or no beje, ni product ni sika, delivery service, then swaj your musika, all those monies go without tax. How can government get their bit from such transactions without a frontal tax?
It's a very important point our honorable raised here because there's a lot of activity going on. I'm actually doing some work in the e-commerce space as well. I'm just starting to look at the models, but we want to pay tax. But the thing is, it's true said there's a lot of trade activity going on the blind side of government, particularly within the informal sector, using digital tools. But I also believe, sir, with the right kind of engagement, so we can be able to understand which you can, by virtue of the numbers, you can actually tell which numbers are engaged in trade and which numbers are not engaged in trade. And we can be able to have a conversation around how to be able to capture those people and bring them into the net. For me, I'm actually thinking of it and say, in attempting to go and catch those who are doing business, don't end up disenfranchising those who genuinely need the service, sitting somewhere in Tumu or in Chiame, waiting for some 100 cities or 200 cities as their monthly stipend from Accra. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Thank you.
Derek Bilai, Mayanase. Yes,
Derek, thanks for your insightful contributions. And,
thank you.
And we need this feedback to also improve. Said every government policy says, and the buffer fra, there will be issues. We all work together to improve the system. But you see, the idea say to scare of many people go back to cash transactions. There are also difficulties. Yet cash transactions so is associated with. First of all,
I will get your opinion.
John said that.
No.
Yes, I know. Also, on tissue, I shall say, come on, one in the nose, but until the American, I just so John, I would turn a teen. And the woman said, when you offer Sika, Nasa, a show bottom, and in Tibia, so Nanabio, Kaswa, a so commaniska, so Mamma Froka, and I'm Fancona, me mobile money, a better me 1.75. There's risk involved. So on the inconvenience near the anti only Sebia at the tour kakra abetus intini bebre bejai. Antina make us a government has been patient. A bad digital tax and I say momo tax ya semia. It could have been introduced 3 years ago or 4 years ago, even 5 years ago. Said the all kikan krobisu the Congo near the Tia boy yes studies they didn't build the structures. Ghana Tonobo I build transaction space, and especially to do with Momo tax and created interoperability. So, Debia Vice President Dr. Baumia Taka said Ghana is the only country in Africa you can transfer Momo from your phone to your bank account and vice versa. In Pasane, Kenya, it doesn't run like that. Even though you can do Momo transaction, you can't go into an account or put money back onto your phone and vice versa. And here, an advanced level So ni ato e boy sa studies we nyina na ye wogidie say sa 1.75 no category anke be heti omo kese pa te say ne na o tumu a okay omo no they don't do below 100 cedis above 100 cedis a day. So 30% category no ye omo nyina afrim. They are not covered. And you know, where the difficulty will come from, but we will continue to engage them as he has proposed and make sure we improve.
Communication service tax, no?
Yes.
That is on data, right? And
and they're different.
Okay. Barnabas, it doesn't, communication service tax.
CSC has got nothing to do with mobile money.
It has got nothing to do with mobile. Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, okay, very well. Derek, me and I say, Bibiani, why? Fantastic. Yeah, that's a point. Derek Bilai, digital financial service expert, and currently the director of the Africa Digital Economic Forum. 2 months ago, now in charge of research and communications at Telecoms Chamber. And I'm going to see an aiding command. The Honorable John Jinapon Swat say, me wana kwaba. JJ, it's saying.
JJ, na answers na me.
Na nebo.
Wabedu.
Na bedu ani GM.
Budget na bedru.
Abedu ani GM.
Budget is bedru ye. Menua. Tax component tax component. We are increasing the tax revenue from 55 billion to 80 billion. That is what is in the budget. Tax revenue increase from 55 billion to 80 billion. Almost 50% increment.
But that's good news.
It's good news for the country.
One tax measure per
only one. Only one.
The highest value he gave 500 billion. That's what he gave annually. Was it that transaction within this
transactions? Yes.
1.7. Can I make a point? 1.7 billion of that leads you to 8.5 billion. Meanwhile, in this budget, Muhammad Yatudja said, because of our new tax measures, the increment, we have 15 billion. Now, listen to this. Just 1 point, maybe. Let me open I took a snapshot of something. Almost say, across board, fees and charges will increase by a minimum of 15%. Government fees and charges. Fees and charges across board. You know what they are doing? It's a main tier 50 pesos a motorway. But who can renew a car? Who can renew a car? Who bet a minimum and cost 15% in addition. What is the rate of inflation? That is how you do economic management.
So year end, no target 8%.
Yes. Yeah. So why would you increase it by 15%? Is that proper economic management? And you come and sit here and tell us, ye chemu. Uchemu say mami nkotua toll. Ewo motorway. You come up. Let me try, but no one to move 15%.
That's a Ebian
Combe Parliament. Say, last year they attempted it. Why was it withdrawn? Okay, so last year DVLA announced say they were going to increase these things, and it was withdrawn. Yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So why are they bringing it again?
And then this you were increasing fees and we're still paying.
Do you get my point? Into this issue of no, it's neither here nor there. Near consumer name when they say economic management. Near disposable income. Simple as that. It is a way to bu free. Now I go to 15%. What have you done for me? Tell me, what have you done?
But one other thing is when I say, I wanted him to take us
Have
through.
You seen in any year, just one particular year, you're increasing all fees and charges minimum 15%?
All government fees and charges.
Where has it happened? It's not an average, or see a minimum. Please, what average? What are you talking 15%. About? How can 15% minimum be an average? Don't you know minimum, maximum before you come to average? The average is the mean. And that mean takes into account from the minimum to the highest. Yes. So if you come and tell me, say minimum 15%, then you come and sit on radio and say minimum 15% and average. Then you don't know what you are talking about.
Okay, JJ, I want to do this.
Increase fees and charges.
John, taxes Ben, I will say more year free in this budget, and I just one penny more introduce and the effect.
Yes.
Me
that's it. Obi. Enigisemu a ewo budget mu ni se omampani na nado danko akufuado na nisu ade hunu o se Ghana ye bajije eto a engu enuma na mmom no yɛbɛyɛ ɛto a ɛbɛboa ma enuma akɔso enti niema yɛfrɛ no nuisance taxes ɛto a yɛgyekaya yɛfoto NDC time even condom ne yɛgyegye so tax cutlasses sekan yakuafo de do yɛgye so tax saa niema no nyina yɛba yɛbetwa mu eyi to makomako 15 free ho this budget is so amene mu kasɛn yɛyi makomako enum na afiri so a yɛde just a to baako pɛ na aba Ghana for a PAM African wear 2017 aban ehwe sɛ VAT 3% bi ano mutua no na omo nema no bo ekosro enti e suspended here aban asa extending for 2 years enti African prints ne omo manufacture African wear ne sane mane nyina na to also mutua no aban asa extended by another 2 years enti no omo no omo ntua ena VAT flat rate say ya pejam up to 500,000 enti no omo ana omo ntua no from 200,000 it's now up to 500,000 teno so amamman for komu ebe high omo pacho what you say enna ya reduce gold exporters Ghana hanom say we export to gold kwa branonia na omo wo tax rate of 3% a omo je gold exporters no na eno no Emma Ghana for no bebre na fe the gold no mo de kofa other countries Togo ne Burkina ne ade ye hu say gold export in Ghana no eba from pa enti aban I review that policy Emma no ye dey free 3% na dey aba 1.5% na no pokura no enye on the export ye no withholding tax for the small scale miners to pay pacha what you say enti ye yi sa say we export to gold a ukotua tax no ye yi sa to no 3% no so ye free ho say be ya amanfo betimi adi omudwuma enye sika ato omubotom production asema ye kan bi no etoso bio toll booths across the country 0 rated toll booths chese baby a unama obetua toll booth 1 cedi 5 cedi 2 cedis depending on the size of your car no ye twa saade ni nyina mu say no ye be yi toll booths e wo aban akwan nyina so public roads because ebiana in future no ye be PPP Ghana pass PPP Act enti bia ankrankra bi be ne kwan with government support na so no ka se o toll sa road no de agege ni sika no de aban be ma ho kwan ba se aban kwan bi e da Ghana ha bia se dem di kan no ye hu se toll booth na hia for no kra ne tua no kese na omo tete asphalt lane mu Ghana ha na omo no toll booth nsi ho nti no omo ntua bi enti no sa inconvenience of traffic imagine say wadru ukokaswa no wadru wager obetime di traffic so from SCC to toll booth honum just to go and pay booth a toll booth of 1 cedi e ho so timi che up to kaswa omo so omo free Cape Coast Airba and it's the same across the country enti aban adwen ho hu say toll booth no amagana fo ho kire won and enti toll booth ni nyina nso ye free ho enti san hihye makomako num we nyina na edisika bre aban kakra aban say ye weke a ho ahokire konkrofo so ne the outcome eba no ye yi ni nyina free ho nom ama esese ne de wona mo toll booth no wontua anti say no obi etwi taxi from ebia Malam Junction to Kaswa and now uchi trotro Malam Junction to Kaswa na every day uko in and out 10 times 1 cedi sa 10 times in 10 out 10 na obetua almost 20 cedis a day says kanin na ne driver no eba obotom aban se fato obotom enunti no ye boa ama amanfo komu ahai won
but honorable enye simple sir because again so we share tax measures 5 obobo so na Imube means existing taxes are what
yes, and yes.
And if there is another existing tax, and no afi mu peja minimum
and 15% first no
yes
dear ye ka say yetiti so nyina achi no still na manfo to existing charges and fees ne dear ebia wako habo ukope service bi ni a charge o uko DVLA uko jo license bi ni a charge o uko lands commission aban businesses are uko ye transaction o ho a charge o no in the past 4 years 5 years there has not been any review because it has to go to parliament and this is the time yedi sa new review charges na ba make us averagely na 15%. What I say bidie be kosro e bidie so e wo form, but on the whole no fan say an average revision of 15% on fees and charges. Time na tollbooth no wo ho no. Yewura NDC minua jonjina pono time no. Omo to tollbooth by 1000%. Omba na etua tollbooth 10 pesos, omo na de call 1 cedi so kaya 1000%. Ni nyina echi ne sa yi na omo sa toto wo koje o DVLA na yesan ju extra money for the kind of roadworthy sa atomu. But we are not doing that. And you know, and still you bet my tollbooth. Now still yasan increase charges. Yes, I know the baby I will go via government service charges. Then baby or crumpa or qua. Unofficially, people pay more than what the official fees is because it can be so small. Say, if you are call lands commission, I will call register or wasase. People pay unofficially be 1,000 just to facilitate the process. But the official charge now Otiano is about 50 cedis and now say 30 cedis. And it's a review charges no is substantial. You can improve and enhance services.
In the way no send driver. Yeah, driver need be 8
Yes.
Now what's the announcement say aban a tollbooth nyina efi ho. In the Odru Kaswa tollbooth own triage because tollbooth ni ho.
I was parliament ejitum. From 1st January going. And the Odru own triage no ase we twam.
But I was say nipa no so te ase say ni road where the song.
Eno de onim dada. Baby onim dada. Say ni road where the no say otua tollbooth is still okutia. Eno de driver ni bia okrom ha bia nim say road where the end of okutia dada. But yatum eno de eden so mu so nim say bibia yatum. Eno de every driver knows. Krom ha no eden ya period bi ba etutu ne mem. And eno no was not going to relieve you from the road toll no. But even granted impo say ye de kakra bi mpo atoso ama na ye yibie firi ukomu aban ya de enti ye mamamfo ntiase say aban recognizes ahokyere ewo amanfo so enti no ya na montuo mu ne ye nhyehyɛ ye pamu no ewo se ye ade e be de komuhan kakra so ebebre manfo. And we have to acknowledge that
with the problem of traffic.
Yes, as I need traffic is where free honom and the amanfo aka etwi for omoso because the higher traffic na dan edwadi na ka etwi for omoso ni nyina nyame ya adomo a all these things will be eliminated.
This clearly makes sense.
Obi, first of all, let me just make this clear. So the 15% is not an average.
Okay, minimum.
15% is not an average. Mami read it. Review fees and charges with an average increase of at least.
Average
increase of at least. Yes, say Obia Diebe Koso by. Can you listen to me, John? I kept quiet and listening to you. Listen to me. So Obikase increase charges by an average increase of at least 15%. What it means, they say, but Emma below 15%. Oh, over. This is a serious program. Minister, this is a serious program. And at tier 40, one more Marco school, 8 years. You are the minister, deputy minister of finance. If you can review fees and charges with an average increase, but at least 15%. It means where the cost, where the from, but Emma below 15%. The minimum is 15%. Minister of Finance say, and yes, Deputy Minister of Finance. This is understanding of when we say that something should increase by at least 15%. So that alone tells me say there's a big problem. If this is the minister's understanding, say. See, I can say increase prices, but a minimum of 15, or say at least, you can say average of 15%. See, I can say do an average of 15. It means a bit below 15, a bit more.
But at least,
you can say at least now. It means that's the floor. Please learn a bit. This is serious. That's the floor. The floor is 15.
At least average of 15%. 2 a year to 2 money, if you find the average, it will be 15%. What it means is it will be an average of at least 15%. The training and say obidi beba from obidi be costro, but so finding average, it will be around 15%. It does, if you wanted to say minimum 15%, but we brought the word average. It won't mean really average.
Take 100, increase 100 by 15. The average is 15. The average of 15 is 15. Let's go. Minia, yenina yete ha. Na MPP for be ka kire ye say aboso kan for mu hu omomobo. Mebu aka kire me. Nti no ma reduce benchmark revenues. Mebu aka kire me. Ama Dr. Baumia ye ho press conference. Edit to just say yen NDC for yentimi anye. Omo ma ye. No mu ye no increase revenues. You are the host here. Mebu aka kire me. That's true. Aboso kan for a shea powder. A grantee interviewer, traders for a president, good as a day. One more bomber basso. Like I say, MPP for ya dear. Me boa catch them. That's true. And ne, what? Yeah, you na. Say, I buy my reasons. It doesn't matter. As for reasons, everybody can give reasons. Me say Dr. Baumia be catch there, yes, say. You knew that? You didn't know that? You didn't know Sebegu local industries. Even after implementing it, you went ahead to organize a press conference to tell a TF4 any good for so why are they changing this for? Meboa. Womanye. Me say nyeso mo be ye no, wo mo ye wie ye no. Dr. Baumia say ye ho press conference. Edi to just aboso kan for. Ye ne hu momobo. NDC for dem hu momobo. Into a reduce benchmark revenues. MOD to just reduce Ukraine no. Ama trade volumes no akosro. And now was okay for one motivo. Quantum pone nada. That is the trademark of this government.
It wasn't going to be permanent.
Me say
temporary measure.
And I'm introduces our policy no. Okay. Dr. Bamiana de Baye. Okay. Or de Baye we no nyame na me ko organize media friends on chirefo say mo mama bato na ma ya de. Good for issue statement say be go madwuma nansia meboa.
When Raguta president was here.
He was here. I say AGI for so akasa. And wo be gina ha say wo what road tools so. Meanwhile duties and charges are going up at the ports by 30%. And then why? What have you done? No, why are they? What have you done? Can you imagine? Say, Roto menkotua 5 pesos biom ewo Temamoto way.
50 pesos.
What the 1 cedi mpo? Mentua 1 cedi. There's 50 pesos if you don't know.
50 pesos and a 1 cedi, depending on the.
Can you imagine? Says onim ni akoso. Minister, you need information. Minister 50 pesos 1 cedi.
Okay. John, may I know one after?
Yes. O customer 18. Me say me tua 1 cedi. O say mama tua 1 cedi. But me duty me tua no. E be a 30,000. About so some of them pay 30,000. Uncle to 25% more of 30,000. And you come and sit here and say, you're more wabaso.
But
why are they?
AGI CEO.
Yes.
And he makes the point, say, why they made a passionate appeal to government. Say, abide and reverse it.
Government's own purchasing power is one. Giving them tax rebates is one. Allowing them to pay a lower tax rate is one. In economic management, there are so many ways of encouraging industry. And I may say, even when AGI was complaining, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, who is supposed to be an economist, held a press conference as late as 2020. What out to say?
That was 2019.
2020, I listened to him in the heat of the campaign.
Now, you benchmark.
Say, you benchmark revenue. About so kind for my yaya diamam.
Okay.
That's the hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. And the double standard in America.